Welcome, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 3 of the Chain Link podcast. I am one of your hosts, Charlie, and with me today is.
Grant Grisham, what's up, y'all? Good to be back.
Hey,
Hopefully, coming in much louder and clearer than last week. Sorry about that.
that was on me. I think that I just had Grant's volume on the call turned down way too low. It sounded fine to me through my headphones when we were recording, and then on playback was when we realized I was too loud and Grant was too quiet. But we have got that sorted out. Look at us go.
Hell yeah.
Grant,
Um,
how you been, buddy?
man, I've been busy. Spring's coming around the corner, so I'm out here doing my dad shit. Practicing my golf swing, mowing the lawn, throwing some cornhole, grilling out.
That sounds
How have you?
amazing.
How have you been?
I've been pretty good. I moved last week, um, so we've recorded every episode we've recorded has actually been in my new apartment. I'm digging it. I'm getting used to it. Still getting settled. Trying to find a washer and dryer. I did sell the one that I had today, like right before we started, and so I got my asking price for it, and that was a win for me.
It's a huge win. That's a dub.
It was. I was very proud of myself and very pleased to get that off my plate. But yeah, man. Other than that, just been going to work, playing Fab, and actually looking forward to recording. This has become to be one of my, one of the things I look forward to throughout the week.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. And another thing that I have been just really looking forward
Mm-hmm.
throughout this week
Yeah,
have been these spoiler
we
drops.
got
I don't
them.
know about you. We really have. They've been laying it on thick. Uh, and honestly, I just like last time have not been keeping up. I will see them from time to time and be like,
Right.
"Oh, damn, that looks so cool," and then immediately forget what I just saw.
Well, I know that there are a couple spoilers we got today that you're excited to talk about, but we have gotten some more Transcend spoilers. Um, all the Transcend cards are going to be Marvels, apparently. And we're not going to go through each of these one by one. That's tedious
Yeah,
and not fun.
there's so many. Yeah.
But
Let's just talk about some of the favorites.
yes, the ones that I am interested in. So we talked about a tome on the first episode. We have our chi tome. It's been spoiled. Uh, it's a blue pitch, instant, mystic instant. It costs 4 to play and it's legendary. All right. It's the or. I think this is pronounced Orahan or Raihan.
Uh, yep, sure. The Mystic Tenets. That's what
Yeah,
I'm going to call it.
that's what I'm going to call it too. And it's
I think
Mystic
that's, yeah.
Instant, draw 2 cards. If a Chi was pitched to play this, instead you draw 3 cards. That's the tome. It's like every other tome. It does the thing.
Ninja with a fucking toe, baby. Let's go.
It's a good card. I'm sure it'll see play in the Mystic Heroes. I don't. I only brought this one up first because we talked about what the tome would be, and it's good. It's a good card. It draws you cards. It's good.
I mean, it really is the default move for LSS to just be like, oh, we need a powerful hero. Tome.
Yeah, it's
Let's just give them a tome and they'll be good. KO got cast bones, but that's not the same.
it,
I
it
mean,
it works for brutes. Brutes can't read, but they can play
yeah,
bones
birds
really
can't read, but they can hit hard. They can read the bones.
well. All the
They're
other
reading the bones.
all the other transcend cards are they're blues that cost 0. They're instants, and they are one gains you life. One gives an attack go again, which I think is probably the strongest one that's been spoiled so far.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to be huge. For assassin especially, I would imagine. A little bit of go again never hurts
Right.
for an assassin.
There's
Um,
one that gives go again, and there's one that is essentially like mystic ancestral empowerment, where it just gives a +1 buff. Or I guess lunging press is like the card that it is. I think those two are probably the strongest that have been spoiled so far. Because like
There's grain, the grain that tips the scale. Is that the one you're talking about?
yeah, that one.
Yeah,
I really like all of
yeah.
these names too, and I like the Marvel art being like traditional Japanese art. But
That's what I'm wondering
yeah.
right now. What at
Mhm.
this point in time is your favorite? What is a Marvel that you would willingly buy even if you weren't going to play any of them, just because you like it that much? Is there any even for
Oh
you
yeah,
currently?
oh yeah. That I would just buy just to have. Do Marvel Heroes count?
No. Let's stay away
Okay,
from the Marvel heroes. Yeah,
that's fair. I really like the Marvel Figments. I really like those. Those are very pretty.
yeah.
I really like these marbles as well.
I was gonna say, Stir the Pot is such a different looking Marvel from anything I've ever seen, and I love it.
Let me find Stir the Pot
Absolutely love it.
so I can refresh
That
myself. Oh
that
yes,
illustrator cooked. All right.
I do like this a lot. You know what? I'm gonna say that this one's the one that I would pick. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on. Every time I look at it, I see something different. I also love that the effect is just to shuffle. Like
Yeah.
it just shuffles your deck, which is actually super relevant if you're pitching a bunch of chi. You know?
They could have made that such like a boring card art, but they chose not to.
Yes.
But we can't talk about spoilers without talking about today's spoiler, which is the one of the two expansion slots
Right, and
that
these
have
are the
been
cards that I'm
leaked.
actually interested in. These are cards that get the juices
Yeah.
flowing.
I mean, I'm a gold main, so I'm hype about one of them. Let's talk about
Mm.
Visit the Golden Anvil though, because I know you got some hot opinions. I don't want to make you wait on me.
No. I want you to go first. Because
Oh,
this is a co-ownership podcast, and I want you. I want to talk about because I also have thoughts on this card, but I want you to gush. Give me what you got.
Visit the Gold Main Estate is going to be an auto run for me, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's an auto run. There's no way in hell I'm not going to play it. It's so good. It's like, I mean, automatically just that many might tokens can be a game ender. If you throw out, let's say, because like the hard part about closing with Victor isn't when they're sub 7.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Actually, it can be depending on how many like defense reactions they run. It's like 7 or like through 14 is really tough for Victor because that's when
Mm-hmm.
people really start blocking and playing on the defensive, and you're just like, how do I push damage
Mm.
uh, without like turning this into a fatigue match? Because I hate fatigue.
Right.
Um, and I feel like Visit the Goldmane Estate will help do that with more powerful cards like Righteous Cleansing
Mm-hmm.
and Thunderquake Red, Macho Grande, as well as CNC is going to be huge, right? I mean,
Right.
no D React. You got 3 Might tokens. You throw a Trounce on that. You're looking at, like I've been saying all day, 14 no D Reacts, please. That's a pulverize. And
Mm-hmm.
you're only spending, what is that, 4 resources
Mm-hmm.
over the course of 1 turn because you've already done this.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. I agree with you. I think this card's really strong, and it's a blue block 3, so it's got that value. Um, one of the, like talking about ending the game with Victor, like one of the things I like about Victor is the other heroes that make gold are kind of incentivized to break the gold, you know, which we'll get to in a
yeah,
second. But like Kasai kind of wants, unless you're on a raise an army plan, Kasai doesn't want to bank gold. She wants to get 1, maybe 2, and then spend it to filter her hand. This is a payoff for as Victor, you win the trounces and you're building your horde and sitting on it like a dragon, and then you don't ever have to break your gold. You can just, it's conceivable to me that in longer games you could play this card and make 5 6 might tokens, right? Like if
and
you're,
that's
yeah,
exactly where I was just about to head
yeah,
with that because I was like, this card's powerful for 2 reasons. One is that word, that many. might tokens,
Mm,
not 3 might tokens, that many. So 3 or more gold, that many.
right.
That's huge. And then the other one, go again, right?
Mm.
Boom. You can do it at the start of your turn and keep doing stuff. You don't
Yeah.
have to have it. And this card is so good that even if it didn't say go again, I feel like mains, gold mains that didn't run this card are missing out. And like it would incentivize running E Strike, Zealous Melting, Hustle, uh, and Rouse, the Ancients, just to
Right.
get this off.
Right. I
Like I would default run those.
right. I really I like this card. I like that it doesn't lose you any gold. It's not like this would be so bad if it said destroy gold tokens, make that many might. Like that would be such a
Oh,
letdown.
that would be terrible.
But
That'd be terrible
this really plays into the idea that Victor's like a rich boy, and it really rewards you for like playing that. If
for
you keep
being a rich boy.
and like if you keep your shield around, boom, there's the gold right there. There's like lots of little incidental ways that you could get gold. Like you could even play Victor's hat and make 2 gold just off of the hat. So if you do that, like you play Victor's hat, you block with it twice with a yellow card, and it's like it makes 2 gold. That's 2 gold sitting there. This makes a 3rd gold. Your shield's a 4th gold. You've probably got 2 sitting around just from winning uh, clashes. That's 5 or 6. It really quickly starts to add up. You know, I really like it. I think this is a very subtly powerful card.
Me, if I was going to run it in, my biggest concern is like, how would this work into KO?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not generating gold.
Right.
So like I think building the deck around this, actually I'm gonna have to actually backtrack on my last statement. I was a little too hyped because I think, yeah, like you do have to build it around your weakest game, and I think KO is probably like a lot of people say 50-50. I think that's bullshit. I think it's like 60-40 with RNG chance to be 50-50. Like KO is just when he's rolling, he's rolling.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
like it's tough, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think this might be a sideboard out against like some particular matchups, but
I'd agree with that.
super strong card, super sick. But I want to hear more about this Visit the Golden Anvil card. I'm curious about it.
I love
How
this
does
card
this
so
work?
much.
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
I don't know if a 5-year-old can quite comprehend flesh and blood, but I'll do my best. So basically, um, as Olympia, Olympia's hero ability, when you win wagers, you just get free gold, and then, as I understand it, the equipment slot has to be empty. So you are encouraged to play pieces of equipment that break. Visit the Golden Anvil basically says have a full new suite of equipment, like just equip a new set of armor is basically what it
Now, is
says.
your inventory your sideboard?
Yep.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Yep. Uh, there's that which is a very real cost to playing this is that you have to run more pieces of equipment, which cuts down on your actual sideboard spaces. But just the immediate thing I think of with this is Olympia runs the prized Galea, which is a very very good card. I have one right here. I had the cold foil I won prepared for this. But Galea is a temper 2, and it's the one of the only sources of wager at reaction speed. So when you basically know that your attack is going to hit, you can break your Galea, and you can get two gold tokens off of that. Which immediately, like the thing that I think of is I can do that over and over again by equipping another Galea, which is
Right.
another 2 block, and then like more guaranteed gold, which is more guaranteed cash-ins. It filters my hand more. It just keeps the deck running smoothly. But you can also just like you can play some temper block 2 equipment, and when it breaks, you just re-equip some more. Uh, the really cool thing you can do is you can like say you're playing. She's gonna leave the format before this card's legal, but like say you're playing Dromai, and it gets to the late game, you break like a piece of equipment, and you play this, and you equip your null rune so that you can't die to burn them all.
Damn. Yeah, I didn't
That
even
was
think about that.
like that was my like one of my thoughts of it. But I love this card design. I love the idea of equipping new stuff to fit the situation, even if it's just getting another copy of the thing you were already playing. This is so cool. I love it. I just can't. And it's only gonna open up like deck building options as more equipment gets like printed. So it's only ever gonna get better. It's only ever gonna like enable you to make more decisions.
Yeah,
This is good.
absolutely.
This is real good card design,
Real good. And most important, blue block 3. No instant.
right? They're both
That's
blue
huge.
block threes, which is like by default. If you want to buff a hero, you give them at least semi-playable card that's a blue block three.
I mean, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
A blue block 3 that does stuff, sick in my book.
and they're
All
both
day, baby.
and they're both specializations, which is something that I've been harping on. I want to see more specializations.
Yeah, yeah, we really do. We need more specs. We need good cards that are not generics. I'm done with generics, honestly. Stop printing them. Be class specific from now on. Pick a class.
Stuff like this, I want it to be specializations. I do like generic cards though.
I disagree. I'm not a huge fan, but that's for a different day.
That's for a different day.
Um, yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of things that I don't like, let's move on to our next topic.
what's
What
our
do you
next?
say?
I'm down. What's our next topic,
Uh,
Grant?
Prism. Things I'm not a huge fan of. Specifically, Spectra, Prism, and specifically, let's talk about this Arcanine Sentinel bullshit. Let's just hit on it.
Right.
I'm gonna talk my piece because I have a very short statement,
I have
and
a really
then
short
I believe
statement
you
as
have.
well. Yeah.
Okay. Mine is skill issue, not a problem.
Right.
Skill issue, not a problem. It feels bad, but you're going to have feels bad in any game. Getting hit with a Hail Mary in or a fumble Ruski or a Statue of Liberty play in football feels bad.
Right.
You're gonna have them, dude. You can't get away from it. Stop bitching.
Sometimes you mess
That's
up.
me.
Like sometimes you mess up in jujitsu and you just get caught in a submission. It happens to everybody.
Yep.
Right.
It sucks. It really does.
And like you can be mad at yourself because you were supposed to be better than that, or you can just accept that things happen. Um, I don't. Uh, so let me say my piece, my opinion,
Yeah.
my press release
Go ahead.
is it's not a hard lock, it's not the end of the game, and it requires such a specific set of cards from the Prism player that it's not like the Prism's gonna do it every turn, every single game. It is not like a determined and this is gonna happen. I think it's cool as a viewer. I think it's cool when it happens. I don't think it's reliable enough to be a problem, and I think that there's plenty of ways to counteract it.
And it's also super situational.
Yes, exactly. There are so many ways to play around it. You can play Time Snap Potion, Scab Skin Leathers. You can gain action points off of like Lead the Charge. There's just a lot of things you can do if
If
you
you're mech, you don't even give a shit.
yeah, like you pop Achilles Accelerator and you just go about your business. It's just such a
Yeah. You
people are
crank
mad
that
about
soldier boy and you're good to
yeah,
go.
people are mad about it because they don't want to give up sideboard slots. Like they don't want to have to prepare for it, which is never a good argument.
Yeah, honestly, if you're going into your LGS competition completely blind, like
Yeah.
if I go anywhere, like if I go to Huntsville, I know generally speaking what people are going to be playing. If I go to Jasper, or if I go to Jackson, Tennessee, or if I go to Oxford, I know generally speaking
Right.
what I'm going to be seeing, and there might be a few surprises here and there, and that just sucks. That's like, I hope I don't get caught with it. And if you do, well, fucking skill issue it out, dude. That's what happened to me at the RTN. I got against the K. I said, you know what? I'm not going to run into a Kano. I don't think
Right.
anyone's going to be running it. There might be one person. What are the odds? There were three, and it was my first game, and I went in with AB1.
Right.
And I still won.
Right.
You didn't see me crying about it. I thugged it out, Chief.
Right.
And I think that's what people need to do with Prism.
Exactly. And we went to that 1K back during the ice storm, and I made a conscious decision. I'm not gonna respect Kano. I don't think that there's gonna be a Kano in this room. And sure
Yeah,
enough, there was one Kano, and I played into it. And I sat down from him and I explained it to him, and he told me that he like kind of laughed, and it was still a really close game. I almost got there. He got me, but I made a decision to not respect that deck. I got punished for it. If players want to make decisions to not respect things that are in the format, they'll get punished for it. That's their call.
exactly.
I think
Exactly.
a much more interesting discussion is uh, are cards like this and plays like this, no matter how competitively viable they are or how good for competitive they are, if it makes an unfun game state, is that good for the game? That's a much more interesting discussion that's not limited to just ALS.
Yeah, like one thing that I think people are overreacting about is ALS, not the disease, Arclight Sentinel. One thing that I think people are underreacting about is how fucking good Library is against
Right.
decks that don't have yellow,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not running yellow cards to get rid of a library, I think as long as is honestly Prism's like never really down anyways. I've seen Prism come back from like 1 life to
Right.
20 and keep the game going because of
And
board state.
yeah, and that's
So
what Prism does. That's just what it
yeah,
does.
so I mean, if you can't get rid of that library, like you're dead. Uh,
I don't know about that.
it's made me completely.
I've beaten a lot of prisms that have developed a library, but that's because
I think
this new prism doesn't play nearly as many yellows as old prism did.
that is true. That is true. But if they be hitting on that library, man, it's tough.
It does make the game
Especially as a guardian, really have to respect
right.
illusionist, and Victor Goldmane needs more yellows, dude. I got
Yeah.
three. I got three golden suns, and that's it. So
Play Golden Sun
throwing in them
Righteous
righteous. Yeah, I'm throwing in righteous
and then
cleansing.
just play the yellow Macho Grandes. There you go. I
I was thinking about taking out actually E Strike. Not sure what to take out, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
Um,
We can actually get to that in a minute. But yeah, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think that New Prism is nearly. It happened once on camera and it looked really good and somebody did well with Prism. So of course the sky is falling down.
yeah, like there were probably like two Twitter posts, and like then everybody just started freaking out.
Yeah, like oh, somebody got ALS looped on stream. Immediately we have to go call for a banning. I just stop overreacting, card game players. We can go a week without drama in the community, and the world will not end. You know, it's not like Atlas holding the world up, and if Atlas wants to go take a break, he has to get Hercules to hold it up. It's which is an episode from the Disney
I
Hercules
mean,
show.
in reality, right now, like we're in a small community comparative to other formats, right? Like
Right,
I'm sure anytime some kind of I'm gonna bring it back to football because I love it.
right,
Anytime like some bullshit happens in football or like even per se hockey, right? I'm sure you hear you'll see on Twitter people be like, "Oh, this is bullshit. The refs are in it, and like this is bull."
yeah,
But like, there's so many fans. The player base is so big that nobody ever hears about it. But like, Flesh and Blood is not that big, so everybody's voice is amplified
mm,
to the extent where like if Flesh and Blood was on the scale of like ESPN, it would take somebody as known as like Brody or DM Armada to like say something like ban ALS, and then
right,
people would be like, "Whoa," you know what I mean? Like,
right. And like
yeah,
we'll talk about this for a week, and then we'll have something else to focus on 2 weeks from now, right? It's it frustrates me sometimes how every week there has to be like a new thing that we have to talk about to fix the game, which can kind of segue us into our next topic if you want to.
yeah.
Uh, I think these two topics are closely related enough we can do that. People
Mhm.
are, first of all, congrats to Brody. I was not making $20,000 when I was 18 for a weekend of work.
Me neither.
So congrats to him. But people be mad because the boy takes his time. How you feel about that? How you feel about the time rules?
Mm. This is not a slight against Brody
Right.
um, in any way. I think he's a phenomenal player,
Right.
but I think that pressure makes diamonds, and maybe throwing a little bit of a shot clock, as you said yesterday, um, might actually spice up the format a bit. I'm not saying that it should be a permanent thing. Maybe on a temporal basis, do it at like a calling, do it at like a battle hardened.
Mm.
Um, don't do it at like a pro tour. don't
Right.
don't
Yeah.
start it there. But like yeah, like let's just test it out. Let's feel the waters.
Yeah.
That's just me though.
I so you've heard this before because we were talking about it last night after Armory. It does not affect me personally. I don't care. When the rounds are untimed, take all the time that you want. But I do agree with the idea that it's harmful to the viewing experience when the tournament's being streamed and when the rounds are being streamed and you have one or both players taking kind of an egregiously long amount of time to make a play. And that does hurt viewership because your commentators can only fill dead air for so much before something happens. So yeah, like a shot clock, I think something like that could be implemented, but I think it's a
If if a football team, now think about how like I'm bringing it back in football.
Mhm.
Um, you get about 30 seconds to run a play,
Right.
right? You call a timeout and you can get like a minute thing. I think that's something that we need. We need timeouts, right?
Right.
Maybe give somebody like 2 minutes to make from like decision to decision,
Right.
right? At least in the top eight.
Right.
And here's the thing, it doesn't have to be the end of the world if they do go overtime. It's not going to be a compounding penalty. I think it should just be like an IP either -1 to them or an IP +1 to the opponent. I think a minus would be better, like and call it like an exhaustion or
Right.
whatever we call it.
Right. I
Intellect penalty.
right. I think that the exact specifics of how you would enforce it and what the penalties would be are like very difficult to figure out. Um, but that's for smarter people than us. But I do think even if it's just having judges in top eight more aggressively punish slow play, something like just for that viewership, something needs to be done. But no matter what you do, whether you have judges enforce slow play, you put in a shot clock, you do
Put a
anything.
little miniature video of Temple Run at the bottom.
Yeah, like no matter what you do, someone somewhere is gonna lose a game because of it, and it's gonna be World War III on Twitter. There's no way.
Yeah,
There's no good solution to this, in
I
my
mean,
opinion.
get off Twitter.
I only get on it twice a week just to check Fab Twitter. That's the only time I'm ever on it. I never post anything. Like I don't
Yeah, I have it
participate
on
in
my
this.
computer for that reason.
Yeah, that's
I don't
exactly
have it
what
on my
I do.
phone.
Um,
Um,
yeah,
okay, so
that's
yeah, Brody takes a lot of time, but you know what?
it pays off. It clearly pays off.
It pays off. It really does.
Um, and it's for me when I watch I very rarely am sitting at my screen actively watching the games. I really doubt most people are. I doubt a lot of people are sitting there glued to their screen watching it. I put it on like it's the radio, and I do other things. So it doesn't bother me when the turn goes forever because I'm cleaning or I'm at work or I'm walking the dog or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. I
so
mean, if it's really that big of a deal, then we could just pre-record it and
right,
cut for time. Don't watch it live.
yeah,
That's the easiest. That's the easiest solution.
it really
Or
is.
throw a commercial break. Honestly, let's start doing commercial breaks. Make people appreciate that.
Yeah, do ad
Um,
reads. Do ad reads still
Yeah,
around the ground? Or
realistically, the time that Brody takes is no time. Like, I mean, the fact that there's no ads whatsoever
right,
is shocking to me.
right.
And personally, I think it's a missed opportunity for these events to actually make some money without scamming prize support. Uh, not saying that these events scam prize support. I'm just saying, like, you know,
I don't think the events that are being streamed at this level are scamming prize support.
yeah, maybe not that level, but still, like, regardless of prize support,
Yeah,
the fact that there are no ads whatsoever is amazing to me. And it's a privilege. So check your
right.
privilege.
And we are privileged to have a lot. You know, this coverage this weekend was done by Mansant, and Savage Feats, and we are very privileged. That is a group that started in this community and is made up of people from this community, and it started from just a place of enthusiasm. We're very fortunate to have that quality of production being put out by people that do genuinely care about this game.
We're not sponsored by Savage Feeds, but
We're not. We're just big fans.
shout out, shout out. Yeah, we appreciate you and the work that y'all do.
Mm,
We hope that we can bring the same positivity to the game that y'all bring, and that's what it's about, man.
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have your negativity, but those are just salty salts
Right.
that suck at the game,
Right.
and that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I'm gonna take this moment to, if I have a guiding ethos behind wanting to make a podcast about this game or just play this game in general, it's because I think it's great that there are people who see a thing or participate in a thing and then they want to go and they want to make art or media or whatever. They're inspired to do that. And I think that's good. And I just want to be a part of that. And I think that's a positive thing. So I want to keep things positive.
Absolutely,
That's
couldn't
just
agree more.
that's just where I'm coming from with all of this. And yeah, that's sorry for that tangent. So Brody won on Azalea, playing one of my favorite cards that has not really seen a lot of play. But I gotta, as I'm proud of Brody for winning. Good job. I'm even happier that he has like validated this card as being good. And you know what that card is, Grant?
What?
It's Amplifying Arrow.
Oh, I didn't know you were asking me literally.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Yeah, amplifying arrow, man. Didn't see it coming. That being said, you know that makes me wonder. You know, like what makes Brody good? And we were talking about AI yesterday. Me and you were,
yeah,
and the decisions that AI make are unconventional. They make sense when you think about it,
mm,
but it wasn't being thought about.
right,
And that's what Brody's able to do is think about things in an unconventional way with which people are not thinking about.
right,
Um, and that's what we saw with amplifying arrow.
mm,
And that's what I try to also bring that spirit into the game
right,
with some of my kooky deck techs.
right.
Uh, Obviously, not as well thought out as his system, but
Well, you don't know till you
you know,
play it, but yeah. So we were, talking about kind of like AI and how AI. I was actually reading about like AI chess programs and how one of the ways that they detect whether people are cheating at chess is the way that a computer plays chess is markedly different than the way a human does because computers will make plays with the sole goal of making a separate play 20 turns later that like a human just does not have the ability to forecast like that far ahead into the game. And uh, like you were saying, when you see those moves, they don't make immediate sense, but then 20 turns later or however long, all of a sudden it becomes clear why the AI made or why the computer made that decision. And I think that if we had shown people Brody's deck, like if we had known that he was playing Amplifying Arrow before he was on stream, before we saw what it could do, I think a lot of people would have like kind of shrugged and laughed it off. Or even if just someone in the like one of us was like, I think Amplifying Arrow is really good, but without someone like Brody, who is, you know, a pro playing it and proving that it's good, we would have been laughed off. But Brody plays it, and all of a sudden it's a genius. It's cracked, and it really is because it just, it turns all these 0 for 3 pumps into 4 for 0s, which we talk about.
Well,
We talk about value all the time in Flesh and Blood. That's a ton. That's huge.
it's a hero or zero moment where like if it didn't work, nobody would really say anything anyways. Nobody would
Right.
care.
There's a lot of confirmation bias in it. The
Yeah,
results
like
oriented.
nobody would care if he didn't make top eight with amplifying arrow. But if he made top eight with amplifying arrow, they'd be like, "Oh, that's pretty good." But because he won with
Right.
amplifying arrow, now everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, well, how is he the fucking oracle, man? He's seeing
Yeah.
into the future." Like
Exactly. Yeah. Because he won with it.
I mean, it's
It's not the case that like that card existed in this format the whole time and had its merits the whole time. It's, oh well, now that it's been proven to work, it is now good. And I
yeah,
just think that's fundamentally flawed thinking. And I think that like,
yeah.
you know, I would love to see the Azalea win rates on Talishar of people just blindly loading that deck list in with all 72 cards in the main deck and trying to figure out how to play it. You know, uh,
Sure. Well, I mean,
don't net deck
that's not
things. Is
gonna.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. Net decking is not gonna. It might win you like a local, but
I think it's a great
that's
place to.
it.
I think it's a great place to start. Like, if you're
Uh,
interested in a hero or you need a deck list idea, sure, pull one from like a pro tour or something. But you need to innovate on it, especially something for like a pro tour, which is a smaller tournament than a calling with a more defined sort of meta to it. That deck is not necessarily applicable in an open format, right? Does that make
yeah.
sense? Yeah. You drink you some
Excuse me.
coffee, my brother.
Sorry.
You need
No,
to.
man. It's been a day. Look, I think personally, net decking is like fine.
Mm.
Some people just aren't creative.
Oof.
Um, it's okay. It's okay to not be creative. It is what it is. But like, the true that's the difference between like a Tiger Woods um, and someone like an Arnold Palmer.
Mm.
Is one is technically great, and the other one is just artistically great.
Right.
I mean, obviously, like Tiger is like an amazing golfer technically too, but
Right.
so Arnold Palmer also had a bit of creativity,
Right. Well,
but one had more than the other, and that's what I'm trying to say is like you can either be really good at the mechanics and like perfect gameplay, or you can think of like creative ways that might not be conventional because your opponent's knowledge of your deck in of itself is a disadvantage.
right.
You know,
Right. Like if I see what you're saying, and it's you hear all the time like there are deck builders and then there are pilots. There are people who are really good at building decks and trying new ideas, and then there are people who are really good at taking those decks and actually executing on the game plan and playing the game. Very rarely do both of those things seem to overlap. Um,
are you saying Brody has a Ghost Rider? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying Brody has the benefit of having a lot of very good players around him to test
Yeah.
against and try things like amplifying arrow out. I also think Brody is just like someone who's very knowledgeable of the Azalea card pool, and so is therefore more informed to make decisions about what arrows to include. But I think that it's very important for people to build their own decks. Also, just from a I guess personal enrichment position, like it makes you a better player to go to Fabrary and have a blank screen that just says Visceri and fill in 80 cards. That will make you a better player,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Because you're learning about
Yeah.
the card pool, not so much about not so much because of you throwing in random junk. I mean, I've played with over I would say 20 or 30 different variations of Katsu,
Mm.
Right. I've tried Turtle Katsu. I've tried Katsu. I've tried Bonds, the triple Bonds, Pouncing Links, the Mask of Momentum, Dishonor with the Mugenshi. I've tried it all, and I've tried building my own. Right. I've tried building the own Torrent of Tempo. I've tried mixing the Torrent of Tempo and the Turtle.
Mm,
And I mean, it helps me realize what the strengths and weakness
mm,
of the current meta Tatsu deck is, which helps me play that better and understand that, hey, this card situationally that is not ran in this net deck
mm.
is actually really good right now.
Right,
And I'm going to sub that in. You know,
right,
I mean, that's how I do it. I net deck, but then I also will sub my own cards in.
right. Like I've been playing Viserai, and the list that I based my Viserai off of, it included one blue rune flash, just randomly, and I could never figure I never could figure out what it was in there for.
Yeah.
Because it's a two go again, and I was assuming it was in there for Kano just to up your blue count for AB until I started like really trying to get better at counting like your non-attack and attack ratios in the deck, and I realized
Hmm.
that for every red attack or yellow attack, or for every red, yellow, or blue card in that deck, there's a corresponding one that is of the opposite kind. So for like every red attack, there's a red non-attack, and so on and so forth. And so to get that ratio right for your blues, that's what the blue broom flash is for. It's just to round that
Make sure
ratio.
you hit.
Yeah, it's to round out that ratio, which makes sense because it's a deck that's built around Tome of the Arknight and being able to reliably hit on Tome of the Arknight and all of these things. And had I not had I not been like trying to really understand why these cards were in the deck that they were in, and had I not, been looking to make my own changes and build my own deck, I would have never kind of had that insight, right? And
Right.
that's you can't just like copy paste a deck and be like, this is what I'm going to play now. You can't do that and expect to have any form of success. In my opinion, it's my statement.
You know, another thing that drives success are these tips. I want to end this
Okay.
uh, giving out some tips real quick. I've been to two comps locally. I went to Dallas and got my shit pushed in, but that was a
Same.
calling. That was a calling, and I was very new at the game then. I didn't even have Tunic.
At least you didn't
Um,
have to spend $60 on a charger brick. Because this guy did. After walking
Good point. I did
six
spend
city blocks.
$100
Yeah.
on I did spend $100 for Winds of Eternity. So you know,
Except they're so pretty.
yeah, went through an event calling with Katsu with no Winds of Eternity running 100 wins. So that tells you. Anyways, my top three tips. So let me give you some background about me. I've been to uh, uh, a ProQuest and an RTN,
Mm-hmm.
both of which I placed in the top eight, and
Right.
those have been consecutive. And look out for me at the next ProQuest because I have to place in the top four. I swear to God.
You have placed in
Uh,
every like uh, like event that we've played. Like you've placed in
and I'm
everything.
about to break through, dog. I'm about to break through. But here's my tips on how to do that
Mm.
effectively. Step one is to prepare. The way you prepare is you make sure that your deck is to your liking. So you have mostly, like I said, you have your net deck, and then you go about like I usually say about six, at least three, but at most probably eight. I would
Mm.
say like a sideboard worth. Like sometimes people just want to do their own sideboard, and I respect that.
Right.
But like if you're changing more than eight cards, you probably just need to go to a different list altogether, or just build your own at that point.
Mm.
So you need to prepare. You need to know the current meta, how they play, what they want, what you need to block, what you don't. If you prepare like that, you're already going in at like an advantage.
Right. Right.
You need to eat and you need to sleep and you need to drink water. Uh, Pretty much like the day of and the day before. You need to do all that properly. And I know that sounds so trivial, but so many people miss that where
It's
they just
real.
won't eat that morning.
It's real.
It really
You
is.
gotta take care of yourself. Because if you feel like crap, you'll be distracted trying to play. Yep.
Same with too much caffeine, right?
Hmm.
With nerves, like that brings me to my third point: mental fortitude. Just because you lose that first game does not mean you're out. My first, at the ProQuest, my first ProQuest that I went to, I went 0-1. I started off with an L, and then I went undefeated the rest of the way, all the way into I think I was in seventh place.
Right.
Um, and then I played against Nathan Crawford and lost to Dromai,
Right.
so that sucked. And then the same thing kind of happened where like I lost. It was actually an inverse where with Victor I was undefeated,
Mm.
and then I lost to a KO, and then I lost to a Dromai, and I bubbled into eighth place. And then I played against that same Dromai that then won first place.
Right.
So that sucked hard, right? To play it back to back and try to keep that mental fortitude in the top eight with money on the line, like that was tough.
Right.
And I played a way better game than I did the first time.
Mm.
So if you tell yourself that what do the kids call it nowadays, manifesting,
Yeah.
you just gotta manifest that
Right.
fucking Sigma grind set, baby, and just know for an answer.
Right. I would add to that about your deck. Don't don't make your deck choices last minute. I would say a full 24 hours out from tournament day, lock it in. That's your list, and just don't
I'd
worry
say
about it.
I'd say 40 out, 48,
Yeah.
unless something like crazy happens.
Unless you just have
If
a
you're not,
breakthrough.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, unless you have like a fucking eureka moment, but you've been practicing with the deck. Trust yourself, dude.
Right. And that's I think
Trust yourself.
trust yourself is a big one. Have confidence in your abilities. You've played the deck. You know the matchups. And don't get psyched out. Like if you sit across the table from a Nathan Crawford or a Michael Hamilton, or um, I was reading in a chat.
Anyone,
I was reading in a chat.
anyone.
Yeah, I was reading in a chat somewhere that like they have a really tough pro quest this weekend because all of the Canadian players like Yuki and all of that are going to be at their store because it's the closest one to them, and they're good, but they're just players. No one is Superman.
That's right.
You're not about. It's not like you're being asked to step into a cage with John Jones, right? Nothing bad is gonna happen to you.
Yeah. Worst case, you lose.
Yeah.
Best case, you win. I mean, they're just like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I will say when you are playing against a pro player, it is next level, dude. And
Right.
that's something that our buddy and uh, also known as Funk,
Mm-hmm.
he went pro tour in LA,
Right.
and he was like everybody was just so next level. He was like
Right.
every minor misplay that you make, they capitalize on.
Right.
That's that's scary to me, dude. Like I can't even imagine the amount of rounds that you have to go through,
Mm-hmm.
and then on top of that, the skill level that
Mm-hmm.
those people are at.
Right. But it's good for you to experience that because then you come away from it saying, well, that was the level that I need to be at if I want to hang with them. And that drives you to strive. It should drive you to strive to play at that level. And to like, I think that if you're just playing games and you're not sitting there and you're not thinking about, if you're not trying to think deeply about your deck building or your turn by turn play, uh, and like there's nothing wrong. Like I'm not saying don't, like just play if you want to, just play the game. Like if that's how you get your fulfillment out of it, I have no shame on. Like I'm not shaming anybody. I'm not saying that this has to be a hyper competitive game. I don't think that it should be. I think it's a more competitive game. But if you're like me, and you want to go to ProQuest and you want to do good to prove that you can win a thing or that you can do good at a thing, you've got to think about it deeply. I've been reading what is it called? It's the tennis book. Here, give me 1 second. I gotta get the title.
Well, while you do that,
Yeah.
I want to say this. If you think about it like how I think of golf, a
Mm-hmm.
bad day of fab is better than your best day at work. That's how
True.
I be feeling, man. Right? I
True.
mean, I'd
True.
rather go over a lifetime.
It's the inner game of tennis. It's the inner game of tennis. It's a book written by someone who studied how tennis pros like train and prepare and practice, and it's been adopted by a lot of professional athletes and professional competitors throughout the world and different things as a way to like get better.
Yeah,
Uh, so I don't know. I just respect yourself enough that if you want to do well, respect yourself enough to put the work in. Which is what I'm gonna try and do. I'm gonna
I like that. Respect yourself enough to put the work in.
yeah.
It's nice.
Have you watched The Bear?
Yeah, that's the one with the cooking show
Yeah,
with the dude from Shameless, right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Have
I've
you
seen
seen
that.
season 2?
No, I'm still on season 1.
Fair. Just it's worth a watch. But there's a scene where they're sitting down with their uncle, who's like implied to be a mobster, but he's like their financier in season 2. And he has this great line where he asks the guy from Shameless, he's like, "Do you want to be the guy?" And the guy from Shameless, Jeremy Allen White, he's like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah,
And the other guy just tells us like, "Then be the fucking guy." And I don't know, I just that kind of sums it up for me. You want to be good, then you got to be good. Lock in, double down, play good.
yeah, and not forget the most important thing, dude. Set a goal.
Yes.
Go in with a goal. If you win, and not something unrealistic like, oh, I'm gonna go to this RTN and win.
Right.
Okay, great. If you do that, that's awesome. But set a smaller goal. Set victories, right?
Right.
Say like, and then if you underperform on that goal, make your goals smaller. So,
Right.
for instance, right, I go in and I say, today I want to, let's say at the last RTN I went one and whatever, right? I only won one game out of six.
Mm.
I would say today I want to break even. I want to go 3-3.
Right. Yeah.
That is a good goal because you can always say, "Good, I made my goal. I'm three and let's say you're 5-0, 5-0.
Mm.
Great, you made your goal. Let's make a new one.
Yeah.
You feel good about it. It gives
Right.
you a boost of confidence. You're not sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm still not in first place. I'm in second. I still got to beat the top." You know what I mean? Like you're getting in your head about it.
Right.
And if you still start that day off 0-1 and your goal is break even, then say, okay, cool. I want to win this next game. Let's say you lose it. Okay, I need to, and you read up and you're going against like a Guardian and I'm Katsu.
Right.
Uh, I would say, like, okay, this time my goal is to not get, you know,
Mm-hmm.
CNC pummeled.
Right.
Right? Let's just
Yeah.
try not to get CNC pummeled.
Right.
Something small
Right.
victories, man. Let's not lose.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
I'm a 3-2 player. I go to a ProQuest or an RTN or whatever, or like just a 5 round tournament. I go 3-2. Right. Me personally, my goal is I am chasing the X1 record. I don't care if it gets me in the top 8. I don't care if I win the whole thing. That would be nice. I'm chasing the X1 record.
yep.
I, X and O would be great, but I want to prove to myself that I am not like I don't want to be a 3-2 or a 2-3 player. I don't want to be a top of the bell curve player. That's not my
But if
goal.
you're a 3-2,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't a better goal be okay? So like what you could do then for that day is say I want to go X1,
Right.
and then you go 1-0, and then you go 1-1. Well, then you say, well, at least if I'm 3-2, I might bubble into top
Right.
8 because I went 1-0.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, first game
Yeah.
win.
It's like I was saying. Like top 8 would be great. I'm gonna play it out until I play tournaments out until I know I can't top 8. And once I know I can't top 8, if I'm not having fun, I just drop. If I'm having fun, I'll stick around and play. But
Yeah.
um, I just that's my thing. Is like, and every time I've made top 8, it's been on the back of being like 3-2 with like some well timed losses or like some lucky tiebreakers. And I want X1 or X and O. That's my goal. If I can achieve that this ProQuest season, I'll be happy. If I get an invite, I'm gonna be real happy. I'll sell that sucker. I ain't going to Amsterdam. I can't afford an international flight.
I'll go to Amsterdam.
I'll sell it
Uh,
to you.
I think, Charlie, we are
Yeah,
running out of time, buddy.
we are buttoned up
We're over.
right at 55 minutes. So, uh, you know, I wish everybody listening good luck at your ProQuests. I'll be shotgunning one in Jasper. I'm gonna see if I can't spike that sucker.
Did you say that's on Sunday?
That's on Sunday.
This Sunday?
Yep.
I can go to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go.
You gonna let me borrow your balance of justice?
I playing Victor. That's like what I have to run. Wait, is Levi going?
Levi and I are for sure going.
Oh man, so Levi's going to be using his.
Levi doesn't have one.
Oh, oh shit. Uh,
I will probably just buy one from someone there. Just
yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. If not,
Anyways,
I'll just register Crown of Providence and be fine. But everybody listening, we're gonna close the combat chain now. I'm Charlie Manning,
I'm Grant Grisham.
and we thank you for listening. Y'all have a great week.
Yeah.
We'll be back next time.
Bye, y'all.